for everyone at the moment, but it will be in the future. It's got huge oil reserves, and will probably be the main city in West Africa. That's a view from the cranes on our site. And I suppose effectively we created Bellagio Vista. This is just to locate it. This is the main international airport. This is the site by a giant roundabout. Very small houses here, and this is the centre. Again, looking down onto the site. And so I suppose what we're looking at is, this is Bellagio 1. So this is that colonial looking thing. The president lives here in a small two-storey house. And we had a few constraints. That's it being built. We had existing water pipes which you couldn't build on. So the red triangles, red bits that we could build on. We decided, they wanted to go quite tall, so we effectively tried to build 2 towers in one long block. And then we thought each of the towers looked at something quite famous, from Lake Volta to the Forest Reserve to the old castle in the Gulf of Guinea. And so there's this like periscope element where they poke over that way. We also were trying to think about Ghanaian architecture, and in particular we looked at the Kente rugs that they are very famous for. You can't really go to Ghana without sort of really understanding or seeing how popular they are. And these are just some of the very simple concept model. And then looking at how that turns into a building itself. So here you can see the initial perspectives of the 2 towers. So just to give you, that's 27 stories, that one's 22, and there's nothing higher than about 5 stories in Ghana, full stop. So they were very big, important buildings. One of my students from Ababa is the client for this, because he married a very rich girl whose dad was the biggest property developer in Africa, and he wanted to. So he came back to his old tutors, Simon and myself, to see if we could bring modernism to Accra. So I'm not sure he regrets it now. I don't think he does, because they've sold so many of these flats. But this is just looking at sunlight in Ghana, and you have a completely different problem than we have in England. You almost don't want any sunlight, you don't want any windows really, but you have to have some. So it gives us quite an interesting problem, which how do you design a facade that has almost no openings in it, or has very deep recesses, and it's 22 stories high. So that was what we were trying to look at. Also, we had an incredibly complicated mix of flats. There are all different types of flats. Maybe through our own incompetence, but also I think that the client continually changing his mind. So in a way, how do you elevate that and give it some order? And I suppose we were looking at how there might be a link to the 2 things, and a rug. And we did a building in Liverpool a few years ago, these 2 buildings, Unity buildings, where in a way we based it slightly, well it was the other way around, we designed a building, then I designed a rug afterwards, based on the elevation of the building. So we thought this time maybe we could go the other way around. This was some initial studies. And then it was about how we might bring a colour stream. The Ghanaian flag has these 3 main colours. And I suppose this was starting to look at those 3 big blank elevations, very small windows in, and using those 3 colours as a very simple idea. A simple idea, I have to say, that seems very obvious over here, but has been very well received over there, because it's not really been done before. As has the idea of looking at being influenced by the rugs of the country as well. We're working with Hanif Kara on the structure. Actually, it's Alba, and it's an earthquake zone, and it's a big cantilever. It's okay doing these cantilevers on your drawing board in Clerkenwell, but when you've got a 9-metre cantilever 27 stories high with bamboo scaffolding, you realise that you've designed something slightly complicated. I don't think there's probably anyone other than Albert who could even begin to get this built. That's just the entrance of the building. Some very luxurious flats. There is no middle class in Accra. They all leave. They all go to university in America or Europe. And part of this development is trying to keep hold of the middle class, to create a middle class in Accra. So it's either very poor or gated communities. And I suppose this is what we're trying to do. So these are very big flats, they're about 4,000 feet. They're gardens in the sky, effectively. This is a huge roof garden, and that could be 20 stories up in the air. And it's then got its balcony here, master bedroom, and other bedrooms here. These are just some of the images. And they built it. It's taken a long time. We designed this building 5 years ago. Phase 1 is now built. One of our old students went over and built it. He's the main contractor. He's only 29, Dan. He's lost quite a bit of hair since that, but he's redesigned parts of the buildings very kindly. But interestingly, on the skyline, I suppose this is the standard firm. This is very high in Ghana, and I suppose it's a very different sort of architecture. I suppose this is where these deep recesses really where these are the hidden balconies behind the building, and then I suppose the panelling that's inspired by Moreau. And then again, you get these glimpses. Everyone who goes there knows this building because it's a real beacon and is causing a huge amount of regeneration. What's also happening is loads of people are copying, so you're getting installed with this strange pattern, which we didn't anticipate. And again, of course, there's almost zero wind, so on the roof of that building you can have a huge spa area and swimming pool and enjoy the views of Accra. I'm going to just end with how I'm talking